that Barack Obama sold himself to America on this idea that he was the multicultural ideal because his father was a goat herder from Kenya, and therefore he would bring people together. We've proven this in the film, Dreams from My Real Father, to be false. The evidence shows that Obama has a deeply disturbing family background, that his real father was Frank Marshall Davis, the Communist Party USA propagandist and former Soviet agent who raised and indoctrinated Obama by his own admission from age 9 to 18. And the Kenyan was simply a sham marriage to cover this up. Obama found out about it as a child and then used this in his political career to hide his Marxist political foundation. So the new information that came out of Hawaii and also from some archives is twofold. Number one, we have from the Honolulu Police Department archives that I obtained from retired Honolulu Police Department detectives is a photo of Frank Marshall Davis's house from 1952 that was raided in a vice squad raid because it was engaging in vice activities. They arrested a number of sailors there. Davis called it the Negro Elks Club. That was the club that was being run there at the time, and there were a number of arrests. And this shows a history of very seedy activity going on at that house, and the likely involvement of Davis in this type of activity. Next, we have new letters written by Davis in his own handwriting that emerged from archives regarding the book called Sex Rebel Black. He wrote a book widely acknowledged under a pseudonym of Bob Green, detailing 30 years of nefarious activities in Hawaii, numerous affairs with underage children under the age of 17, 18. Now, in that book, of course, there's 5 or 6 pages detailing an affair with a girl named Anne. Goes into great detail, and we think, and I've always thought that this was probably Ann Dunham, Obama's mother, and this helped to chronicle the intimate relationship between Obama's mother and Davis. In addition to that, we have a number of photos that Davis took of Ann Dunham that came out in men's magazines, and some of those are in the film, and a lot of them are on the website as well. She took these Betty Page type of photos. So we have evidence of the intimate relationship between Davis and Obama's mother. And then, of course, from age 9 to 18, we have Davis playing a major role in Obama's life, helping to raise him. We think those were all parental visits, and that obviously Obama was indoctrinated into this Marxist ideology, and that's how he showed up at age 18 at Occidental College, admittedly as a committed revolutionary Marxist. But in the new letters that just came out, Davis admits in his own handwriting that, number one, he was the author of Sex Rebel Black. Number two, he says it's a completely autobiographical and all nonfiction. So this is confirmed in his own handwriting, because some of Obama's supporters have tried to maintain that this book was somehow fictional. But now we have Davis actually confirming in his own handwriting that it is an autobiography, and that lends further support to the idea that the girl described as Anne is likely Ann Dunham, and we have all the photos as well to back that up. And
he also mentions that she's the Anne from Seattle, correct? Is that
correct? Is Anne from Seattle? He talks about the family from Seattle. It's just one more in the chain of evidence to show that there was very likely an intimate relationship between Davis and Obama's mother, and then the fact that Obama was raised by Davis from age 9 really helps put it all together. We know that Kenyan was not the real father. All of Obama's story from his book, Dreams from My Father, has been proven to be false. Obama claims that when he was 3 years old, the Kenyan went to Harvard, and that's what broke up the family of improbable love. And Obama, sold himself to America on this whole concept. In fact, his mother went to the University of Washington in Seattle 3 weeks after Obama was born, while the Kenyan remained in Hawaii. Now, the reason I always call him the Kenyan is because when people say Barack Obama Sr., I say that's not true. There was no Obama Sr. because there was no Obama Jr. They intentionally called Barack Obama the second, which means another person. If it was Junior, that would be son of, and then we'd have a senior. So we have a Kenyan foreign exchange student that was agreed to this sham marriage to cover up this illicit affair, which everyone benefited from. Ann Dunham had a legitimate child. The Kenyan applied for a work permit and to extend his visa for a PhD. Now, if he was really the father, he would have just applied for a green card and citizenship if he was really married to, wanted to be married to this woman. But he had, of course, a wife and 2 children in Kenya. And when he first applied for this extension of his visa, even the INS didn't think it was real. They questioned it. But he did get the temporary benefit. Frank Marshall Davis was able to hide this from his wife. He was married with 5 children. So it benefited everyone at the time. The evidence shows from Obama's own writing, he said that he found his birth certificate when he was 12 years old. So that indicates he obviously knew about this. And in his adult life, he tried very hard to cover up the existence and relationship to Davis, because once the biological connection is established, it would then make you look at the ideological connection, how Davis became Obama's ideological father and gave him a Marxist political foundation. So my film, Dreams from My Real Father, shows that Obama really has been pursuing the dreams from his real father, who is a Marxist ideologue and Soviet agent, rather than the dreams of a Kenyan goat herder. And that's how Obama misdirected everyone away from this very, very dark reality and this deeply disturbing family background, which would reveal his true plans for America.
Well, and on top of that, if you look at the video, I mean, the first 15 minutes, it shows pictures of Davis, pictures of Obama. These guys look almost exactly alike. They have the same type of nose until Obama got his nose fixed. They have the same type of mannerisms, the same type of skull shape. They speak in the same type of cadence. So you can tell that that Obama definitely has connection to Frank Marshall Davis. And beyond that, the pictures you show of the lady that we think is his mother in the movie, she's on the same couch that Davis is later doing interviews on later. So there's definitely connections there that cannot be overlooked at this point.
Yeah, I've been in the house. I've established all the connection between the mother and Davis, and it's clear that when Obama referred to Davis 22 times in his autobiography, Dreams from My Father, he refers to him, it's 2,500 words, over 3 continents, over 3 decades. He's always talking about Frank and how much Frank influenced him. And what's interesting is the audio book that came out only in 2005. Remember, Dreams from My Father, 1995. He's thinking of running for mayor of Chicago one day. 2005, he's running for Senate, probably thinking of running for president, and Obama himself is the voiceover narrator for the audiobook of Dreams from My Father. And guess what? Frank Marshall Davis is completely wiped out. Frank is removed. Every single reference to Frank is gone. So this is a pattern of document forgery, document manipulation to remove Obama's connection to Frank Marshall Davis. I showed a few weeks ago, we spoke with Alex on the website, we had a breaking news page of this mysterious black hand of Frank Marshall Davis that they accidentally left in a childhood photo of Obama, and they photoshopped in his mother. So his mother is a thin white female, and she has the hand of a black male, very obvious, and we compared it to Davis, and it looks a lot like Davis's hand, but it's not Ann Dunham's hand. So people talk about the birth certificate recently. They showed how my information was also that they did not put a father when Obama was born. It was left blank, father unknown. And the sheriff's office confirmed that they had also come to that conclusion. So Obama has engaged in a pattern of document forgery to hide his deep ideological and biological connection to Frank Marshall Davis, which the American people, were they given this knowledge, would have found Obama unacceptable. So this is the misdirection he's been engaged in for several years. And it's time for the media and everyone to demand that Obama come clean, tell what his political foundations are, tell the real story of his family background, not this false story that he's been promoting, and talk about his real agenda for America, which I believe is the deadly Marxist dreams of Frank Marshall Davis.
Right. Yeah, you're not claiming this. All you're doing is taking Obama's words from his book, Dreams of My Real Father, where he mentions Frank all those number of times, covering over 2,500 pages of text. And he's mentioning this guy, how he's always getting advice from him, he's getting nurtured. So not only is he a biological father, as you claim, to a communist, he's also being mentored by this guy heavily. But he wants to hide it so much, he doesn't mention him in the audiobook. And I would ask people to go out there and get that audiobook and try to find. There's an instance where you say where he mentions he's out with 3 people in the book, and one of them's Frank, and in the audiobook, he just admits Frank's name.
Yeah, Frank's name is omitted in large sections and small sections. Everywhere Frank is removed. Now, don't forget, Frank is one of the main characters of the book. That's the guy he mentions more than anyone, and they remove him. So Obama has been trying very hard using lies, misdirection, anything to hide his relationship to Davis, because if he had to tell the truth about it, then all this Marxist rhetoric that we hear from Obama, the top 1% are oppressing everybody. The rich don't pay their fair share. If you have a business, you didn't build it. Mm-hmm. This is the classic Marxist rhetoric that Davis learned in Chicago in the 30s, and would have taught Obama that there are some evil straw man who's preventing the masses from succeeding, that's keeping them down, and that the masses can never have upward mobility. They're stuck here because of evil straw men. That's the rhetoric that people would tie together and say, wait a minute, this is insane talk from rantings of early 1900s, Lenin and Marx and these guys. It's not appropriate. It doesn't fit the reality of America. In America, you can work, you can get a job, you can start a business, you can be successful, just like Obama has, just like Michelle Obama has. But they have to tell you a false narrative. They have to say you can't buy food, you can't get a loan, you can't go to school, life is impossible. They create this, tell the people that everything is impossible.
Only government can provide you the milk. You know, pray to Chavez and the milk will appear. We had a guy, one of our IT guys here says they actually do this in the schools with Chavez. They say pray for milk, pray to God for milk. The milk doesn't appear. And they say pray to Chavez for milk. Suddenly the milk appears. And I can't think of one place that communism has worked for the little guy where it's supposedly it's going to always help the little guy. But I can't name one instance where it has helped the little guy. It only helps those elites way up in the top, and those business owners way up in the top who are oppressing people anyway, and they're never going to be working towards humanity as a common goal.
Well, Obama has a false narrative, and that's what's so dangerous. It's demagogic, that you can say to people that the rich people don't pay their fair share. Now, he knows this is not true because we have a progressive tax system. The upper income levels pay 35, 38, up to 40%, plus their property tax, everything else. Whereas the lower you go, you pay less and less or pay nothing. So when you promote your campaign on a lie, anyone can Google this and find out that the rich do pay more than their fair share. But it's demagoguery to go around saying such a thing. He also claims that wants to help middle-class families. But the reality is that socialist economies do not have a middle class.
Right.
The middle class is eliminated. It's destroyed because their employers are hounded and taxed out of business. The middle class's health care will be given away to poor and illegals, and the middle class retirement will evaporate into a bankrupt socialist state. And we'll be left with one lower class, as is the history of Marxism and socialism, one big lower impoverished class and political elites that control the wealth.
And in between that, you have your brute class. You have the oppressors, you have the police arms, you have the Pol Pots that are sending out their minions to basically keep people working in the fields, maintain the slavery, go after anybody who might look intelligent. And that's what communism leads to. It leads to mass death and genocide in the end.
Well, you don't have to look very far. You can look at the history of East and West Germany, North and South Korea, two very similar ethnically historic societies that were divided between free market and communism and Marxism.